Go.
All right. Hello and welcome everybody to another webinar of the New Helvetic Society. Tonight I have the great pleasure to introduce my sister, Vreni Renggli, who is an artist. She lives in Switzerland, and so I will leave her to introduce herself in a little bit. The format of the webinar is that it's about an hour long. Vreni has prepared some materials to talk through and show you, and I find it quite interesting myself. So if you have any questions yourself, just type them in the chat box and Vreni will answer them either at the end or throughout. I will keep an eye on them and make sure that we can answer them at some point. There is also going to be some links and resources that she speaks about, and I will post those in the chat box. Should you watch the recording of this on YouTube or anywhere else, we will put all those links and resources into the description and you can access it from there. So, Vreni, welcome to this webinar and I'll hand over to you now.
Yeah, thanks for this lovely introduction. I'm happy to be here tonight, so thanks for having me, and I'm quite excited and a bit nervous because I'm gonna talk about a new series, or a series I was working on. It's called the Loop series, and the topic of tonight is actually to show you how a new series is born, or how I work to get new ideas, and how like first scribbles and sketches are going to turn into paintings. And the series I'm talking about is called the Loop series, and I was thinking about how I could explain my process. So I think I have to give you some background information about myself and how I'm working, because I am a mom of three. I basically am a stay-at-home mom and an artist. So my time in the studio is quite limited. The time where so what you see here, this is my studio, and the time I work here on canvas with acrylic paint or whatever medium I'm just working with is basically one morning a week. And the rest of the time I have like a second art practice. So there's my studio practice, and then there's my sketchbook practice. And I try to work in my sketchbook almost every night. When I work in my sketchbook, it's basically in pencil. So just sketches, short sketches, to calm down, to get the things that are on my mind onto paper. I'm an abstract painter. There are also influences from like nature or plants. This is one of my big inspiration sources. But what my work is really about is like my inner state. It's about my feelings, it's about my emotions. Sometimes it's when nature informs my work, it's also about the feeling I have being in nature. So I'm quite an outdoor person. I'm running, I'm hiking, I'm whatever. So Erna is going on with posting the first link. I'm not quite there. So these are my two art practices, and the sketchbook practice is the practice where I explore new ideas. And that's also when new series start, or when new ideas start. And the loop pattern, which is the new series, or the series I'm talking about, this is a pattern that showed up, I'd say, about several years. It just kept coming back to me in my sketchbook. And I did not really like it, so I kind of pushed it aside. And then there came a day when I got a sketchbook gifted from Erna, my sister. It's from the Sketchbook project from the Brooklyn Art Library. That's what she just posted in the chat. That's a project where you can order a sketchbook, and then you can just fill it in however you want, and you send it back to the Brooklyn Art Library, and it's there displayed publicly. So it even goes on a tour. I think it's an open exhibition, and then they rest there in the library, and I don't know how many thousands there are, a lot. So I got this sketchbook, and it made me quite a bit nervous to paint or draw in it, because normally my sketchbooks, they're something really personal to me, and I don't show them to other people very often, because just exploring, and it's about my emotions, it's about my emotional states, and so quite personal. But you know, this sketchbook had a due date. So one evening I just had to start it. And I thought, okay, I'm gonna do it like I always do it. I sit down, I take my pencil, I calm down, and then I kind of let my pencil paint or draw. It's more just letting it go than doing intentionally something. So that's what I did, and out turned that loop pattern that was coming back to me. And to be quite honest, I was a bit frustrated. I did not know what I should do about it. Now I was thinking about like painting it over or doing some kind of collage with it. But then I decided that I'm gonna stick with it and give it a try. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna show you the sketchbook. As I handed it in, I made a little video. It's a flip through the sketchbook. And I'm gonna explain you what came out of this pattern and how I finally found the meaning in it. And I'm gonna try to share my screen. Oh, ta-da. Can you see my video? I don't think so.
No, not at the moment.
Yeah. Not showing up on my, I'll try again. Oh, here it is. And now switch to, you can see it now, I think. Great. So this is the sketchbook. They are all in this brown recycling paper cover. They're all the same size, and yeah, they're just like them lined up in this Brooklyn Art Library. So you can check it out online. It's an amazing project, I think. So I'm going to show you the first page, which I made. This is a little introduction about me sending my sketchbook away and hoping people will appreciate it. So this is the first page. You can see that loop pattern, and you probably agree that this is not a masterpiece. So you probably also agree that I was a little bit frustrated with it. I went on exploring the pattern in different ways, also exploring it in another sketchbook I had at home. Oh, there's a sound, bad sound. And I finally found what this pattern is about, because it turned out when I was sketching in the evening, I was mostly tired. I was exhausted from a day with 3 little kids. And I found that this pattern was symbolizing my daily life. You know, like all the routine, all the chores, all the little things you do as a stay-at-home mom, which just repeatedly come back. And I try to read this out to you. It's like a little poem about what these loops symbolize. It says washing, cooking, cleaning, hoovering and dusting off, changing diapers, tidying up, brushing teeth and chopping nails, buying food and cleaning the fridge, paying bills and checking mails, pulling weeds and dropping leaves, moving the lawn and sweeping clean. And then now, get my sunbed. Oh, it's already December. So that's just how my daily routine feels. That's probably also why I did not like the pattern. So I tried playing around with it a little bit, or just adding some sparkle, or change the pattern into completely different. Look how this feels. Changing direction, or also coloring it in any, playing around with watercolors and these loops, trying to kind of just do it this in this direction and then turn the direction and the size and the shape, and suddenly realizing that only by turning it the other way around, it becomes quite interesting. It becomes different. Then I try to do some round things. I try to fill it in with some pattern to give it more interest, like make it more beautiful. Doing it on a Christmas ornament, doing it like in the pattern itself, and just playing around with it and trying to find something new in it and the beauty in it. And the more I played with it, the more interesting it got to me. So that's the end of the sketchbook now. So that's how I sent it to the sketchbook library. So you can even find it online if you go to the library and you type in my name, I think, or loops, and you will find this sketchbook. It's digitalized and you can have a look at it. I think it's even better quality than you've seen it here now. So, but this is just the start of the loop series, and it's how I got to the point where I understood what this pattern tells me, what it is about, and then I kind of could start to play around with it and to explore it. And the more I did this, the more beauty I found in it. So I think this is quite a philosophical thing about it, also about abstract art in general, or my art, that it's something that tells, that it's coming out of me and it tells something about my story, but also gives the viewer a connection to it. So I'm going to show you some of the pieces I finally made with this loop pattern. It started with really basically small on paper, small paintings on paper, and I tried coloring it in, and by coloring it in, you know, when I do this, I think about my life and about the patterns in my life, and I try to add beauty to this. And by doing this work with my art, it's kind of doing something in my life. And then I made a series of 3 pieces And you could say they all look the same. So they're in the same color range with this loop pattern. But when you start looking at them, no, there's a bad reflection. Better like this. You see that there are little differences. And you could probably imagine that these are 3 days in my life. So even though all the chores and routines and what I have to do is the same, you know, for example, I've got 3 little kids, so I'll brush teeth 12 times a day, including myself. And if you count this up, it's just incredibly boring, isn't it? But if you start looking at the little differences, it gets interested. And if you try adding like color to it, that could be singing a song with it or just having a joke about it. So it's basically really thinking about my life and thinking about the art and trying to get the connection between those things. So this loop series is actually really in small pieces, because also being this mom of 3, there's not that much time. There's another frame piece back here where I also started like playing with this. How could you say, how could you call them in English? I don't know, like this spikes or whatever. Just like adding something to the pattern. I don't have to break the whole pattern. It's just, but by adding something, it gets more interesting. And you could think the same thing about life. You know, I don't have to break the whole pattern, but just by adding something, it could get more beautiful. Then there are 2 pieces. When I started, or I could show you my sketchbook. Another one. I've got lots of them. When I started trying to, or just, you see these are sketches for the painting you've seen before. And I tried just to take the pattern and move it around. This is just a basic pattern. Trying to find like something like this. Then this is the same pattern, but around a circle. And then there are always this basic, you know, these are the things I do in the evening. So there are some days I'm just not able to do something else because I'm so tired. And the day really was like this. Then I just stack them on top of each other. Or added a different background. So that's the work I started to work on with the series. And I started putting some of them on canvas, like the one you see here. And this is an unfinished painting. This is also started as a loop painting, but I took it then actually in collaboration with another artist. We took it into a completely different direction. And I mentioned that this is an unfinished painting because just when I was enjoying and exploring this loop pattern, which symbolized the routine, just like this calm daily life, it was in March this year. And you all know that there was a time when this COVID situation started, and all of the time or suddenly this nice routine all went out the window. So was the moment when I, from one day to the other, found myself being at home with 2 kids to homeschool and 1 toddler, and my husband, who's a professional musician, he's a conductor, not being to work anymore. And all of a sudden in the evening, I was sitting there in front of my sketchbook and I was just scribbling and scrolling all over the page. There is no pattern at all. And I wasn't able to continue this series because it didn't match my emotional state anymore. So I just abandoned it. And again, I was a bit frustrated with what I saw in my sketchbook. But as I did with the last pattern, I thought, okay, I'm gonna give it a try and try to, as I found the beauty in that loop pattern, I'm just gonna try to find the beauty in that new scribbling in my sketchbook. And this is actually the start of a new series. You see, that's how it goes. So I also want to show you, this is what kind of turned out in March when I put my pen on paper. And even also being at home with my kids all the time, I knew I had to continue my art practice, even though I wasn't able to go to the studio at this time. But art is also a coping mechanism for me. So I thought I'm gonna try to just do some little work in the evening. And I came across, how do you say it, a challenge on Instagram. So I post on Instagram with my art. And then there was this 30-day art quarantine challenge. So it said that you have to produce a little artwork every day and post it. And I thought, okay, for my mental health, I'm gonna join into this challenge and try to post every day for 30 days. And that's what I did. And it became actually quite different from the loop pattern. Just some of them I was doing during this time. So after 30 days, I had 30 little drawings. Quarantine wasn't over there, so I thought what I'm going to do with it. And I turned it into a coloring book. I think it was on the flyer that you could download it. It's on my website, you can download it for free. Because I thought that there are a lot of people at home having a lot of time and they probably enjoy coloring in these things. So I think I forgot something about the loop series.
I don't know, but if you have, you can just add it when you remember it as another loop.
Because what I wanted to say about the coloring book is the loop series. What I did with these loops, with this kind of boring pattern, is I colored it in. And I think this is about a little bit my mission, like helping people coloring in their life to add more color and more joy and more beauty. And because, you know, I think we all are in this pattern, or in kind of a pattern. And when you see the pattern and you think it's boring, you've got like 2 options. First is you completely break the pattern, you destroy it, you just quit your job and go travel the world. That's great. If you can do this and you want to do this, that's great. But if you're lots of us, or most of us, are in a situation you just can't quit and walk away. So with my 3 little kids, I could walk away, but I think it won't make me happy in the long run. So the second option is just try to find the beauty in what you have. Try to find the beauty in your pattern and in your daily life. And that's basically what I offer you the coloring book for. Because the coloring book is in black and white, and you're asked to color it in with your own colors, you know. So that's basically what I offer you. So if you see a printout of this coloring book, it's just printed on a normal A4 paper, and you can just print it out, chop off the sides, and you get a nice square painting. And if you like this black and white minimalism style, you just can hang it up like this on your wall. But if you'd like to color in your life and add some color and beauty, so that's what I invite you to do. I don't know, Erna, should I continue with that coloring book, or are there questions to answer I should do before?
So we have Melanie Wachtler asking if you know that she's here.
Now I know.
Now you know. So I said you would give her a shout out in a minute. So hi, Melanie. And Marine has said that she loves the bright colors and what the paintings mean. She finds it very interesting. So she asks, when and how did you start with painting?
When and how did I start with painting? Well, I think I painted my whole life. I don't really remember when I started painting, but I remember my first painting on canvas. This is about 15 years ago, I think. It's 16 even. I think it's dated 2004. So this was the first time when I really painted on canvas. But I was painting before all the time during school, but just not in this like you're an artist style of when you paint on canvas and in big sizes. But I was always a creative person, and I was always creating and painting and drawing, and all my school books were always decorated. And you know, probably you remember that I was painting on everything when I was a kid.
So one of the first things that I remember is that Vreni made me actually a handbag out of the material that lorries cover, that very, very heavy duty, it's not plastic, it's like, I don't know.
You know,
and yeah, and you made a lion because my star sign is a Leo, and had it cut out and then I think sprayed on there by some company, a few villages over who could do that. And I think I had that bag. I still have the bag. I still use it, and I must have had it for at least 15 years. So yeah, I think all my life.
I remember I did it when I was in college, I think.
Yeah, so it's been a long time.
That's more than 15 years ago. Okay, so I don't know if I should continue with the coloring book, because what I wanted to do, or to invite you, is to color this in, and I would have some tips and tricks for you how you could do this.
Yeah.
Going on with this. This is my beloved pencil box. And because you don't need to be an artist and you don't need a lot of fancy material, it's really enough to have some pencils, just like, how do you call them? Colored pencils. I would suggest you just one way to do it, but you're free to do whatever you want. This is printed on a little bit of heavier paper, but you can also just use the normal normal printer paper. Depends on what medium you're using. So what you have here is actually a black and white. And if you are new to create something like this, I would suggest that you choose a color you really like. And probably just work in this color in a monochrome palette. I can show you some examples of my work, which are all in one color but different shapes, shades, not shapes, shades. This is my tree series. That's actually the series I was working on before I started these loops. So it's inspired by trees. It's called In Between because it's about the trees and the space in between the branches. And also, like, you could say it's about the tree or about the thing, and it's about the empty space in between. But this will be another another evening to talk about. So you choose a color, and then you add different colors or different shades of that color. You can get some brighter ones, pink, or whatever. And in order to make a good painting, you need a bright color, like white, and a dark color, like black, to get a balanced composition. But that's what I already made for you. So you've got the white, and you've got the black, and you've got some gray shades. Because the hard thing about doing a composition is that it is balanced in the white and light and in the dark and heavy parts. So that's what will make a painting look balanced or look beautiful. It's all about this values or the ratio between this dark and bright parts. So as this is already done for you, you could basically just concentrate on your favorite color. So if you don't like that brown thing in between, if you are a bit more courageous, you could add some bright color like yellow to make it a bit more interesting. Or I'm going to show you another example with blue shades. For example, take a blue one, and then you add different blue shades. This. And also, like, this is quite not that interesting, but as soon as you add a dark and a white, or a black and white, it becomes interesting. And this is already done for you. If you're a bit more courageous, you could probably also add contrast. Then you should take attention, or how do you say? Then you should just make sure that the color you choose, the main color, is more of the painting than the contrast. I'm sorry, I'm getting a bit distracted. There's music playing outside and I'm just looking, so my concentration just was away for a moment, I'm sorry. So I even made some examples for you. They're back here. This is actually one with the red shades. There's this, I'm going to turn that away. Is it better? Oh, this is not bad, I think. So here I choose some red shapes and I added the yellow as a bright color. And I even left some white spots just to keep it a bit lighter. And this is just these pencils I showed you on a normal paper. They are water soluble, so I just made them wet in order to make the color brighter. So you can just take your kids' pencils, if you have kids, or your own, and just try to wet them with a brush. And if they are water soluble, their colors will just pop. So if you never tried this, I love that moment. There's another one. And there was a little accident because I wanted to frame it differently. My sister's laughing, I already told her. I want to frame it for you in another frame, and I cut my finger with the glass, so bad injury. So it's blood stained. There is no, wasn't intentional to have that red here. This is just to show you that I really choose some colors and I left the background plain white. So even if you never painted before, I think you're able to do something beautiful with this coloring book. And I really invite you to color in these patterns and think about how you could color in your life a little bit more. Well, I actually have even some paintings of new series to show you if you'd like to see. Or that's what I forgot about the loop series. I'd have a lot of pictures and I would have some videos to show you about a loop painting, which I could not show you tonight because it's currently in an exhibition. But I do have some videos I made along where you can see me work. So just tell me what you'd like to see.
I think it would be quite fitting to loop back to the loop series and see those, if you don't mind.
Yeah. I will share my screen again. No. Oops. This did not work. I'll try again. Okay. Can't see it. Doesn't work. Here it is. So this is this. No, it's not. No. Here, this is the first stage when I started painting. I work with ink. I just love that medium. It's just the concentration when I do these lines. It's just me and the line, and it needs complete focus. Because if you're not completely focused, you're gonna spluttering and smearing all over the paper. So this is the first stage. It's just the first lines of the pattern. So it's a really slow style of painting, of working. There's no action painting. It's really precise and also a lot of reflection going into it, a lot of focus. It's kind of a meditation practice, you could say. So this video is about 2 minutes, And it's always interesting how people react on this, because if you look at it, that's even, how do you say, that's not normal speed, that's faster, you know? So, and people go, oh my gosh, this is taking a lot of time. And I'm like, yeah, but it's even sped up, like, it's even slower if you do it in real time.
So how long do you think real time is this? Like, how long did this take you in real time?
I don't know. It's probably just this first line. It's probably 15 minutes. I don't know. I'd have to measure the time once. But you see the speed when I just get the ink. Yeah, it's faster than normal work. But a lot of people tell me that they love seeing this on Instagram because it calms them down, you know, when they see me working with these lines. And there are these last small loops. So then the next step is just doing the basic color to give it this, the dark or the darker and the lighter areas. So this is some sort of blue. Painting is not going to be blue at all at the end. It's just it's like a grisaille, you could call it. It's like just in the background to have that darker color, which is when you paint it all over, it's going to shine through. And it will look darker even though there's just the same color on top of it. So I think this is the next step. Yeah, now I'm going over it with the green and turquoise, or how you call it. So you won't see the blue after this. It's already gone. And what remains is just like darker green. But there's an underpainting. So then the next step is going, so now you have the loops, they are still white. So they're going to be the brightest part at the end. And you've got that darker green just next to it, which kind of gives it like a shadow, gives it like two different, how do you say this? Like it's going back. The background is going back and the loop's coming out. So then, and now I'm going over the whole painting with yellow. So it all integrates, it makes one painting, but with different levels, you could say. Yeah, this is just a photograph because I forgot to take those videos afterwards. There's another stage of the work when this is a, how do you call this? Neocolor as well in English. I was working with this red neocolor. Then, oh yes, this is my favorite moment. And it's not sped up, so you can just enjoy with me. This feels like Christmas to me when I finish a painting and when it's on paper and I pull off the tail. So you get that white border, and it's like unwrapping a present, because that's the moment when you see it. But when you first see the real painting and how it looks with that white border around. I enjoy it. I hope you do as well. So that's the finished painting. And it's framed like this. It's in an exhibition in Lucerne at the moment. The exhibition is going to close on the 26th of September, actually. There's a, how do you say it? A finishing event? Finissage, you say? And it's, yeah. It's going to be on the 26th of December. No, September. And it's mostly about these tree series and also some of the blue paintings. And if you like them, you even have the chance to win one print of these. Probably, no, you could probably post a link where you can subscribe to win a print. It's the first time I'm gonna finish an exhibition, and it's the first time I'm gonna do a, how do you call this, a giveaway. One of my prints, I think you can choose between, I think this one, the orange one, and is it the pink one? Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, I thought, or I said that I'm going to show you some of the new series. These are the, I was looking for a name for them. And I didn't want something negative. And I thought I could call them something like Straight Lines Having Fun. Something like this. If you have any good suggestions, just let me know in the chat. Then yes, yeah, why not? And that's actually what I'm working on in the studio at the moment. There are also some canvases on their way. Just need some more time to be in the studio. There's another one. There's also some smaller paintings. You know, my sister told me last week, yeah, you're a real artist. You've got 100 unfinished paintings.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so just let me know if there are more questions.
So Vreni is very enthusiastic himself and says that he loves your enthusiasm and how infectious you are.
Thank you.
And that he hopes you inspired other people in lockdown to kill their time a little bit artfully, I would say.
Yeah.
And he says that it would be a great design for wallpapers. And
Yeah,
he says, please get them made into wallpapers. I would buy them. So
really.
that's definitely something to add onto the list of
Thing to do.
what we could make out of them.
Yeah. Mm.
And Marina's asked about your current and future exhibitions. I think you've answered quite a bit of that, but I don't know if you want to circle back to it. And she was
Yeah.
also wondering how long it takes you to finish a painting.
Well, first about the exhibition. There's one exhibition going on at the moment in Lucerne, which will close on the 26th of September, so pretty soon. And there are no further exhibitions planned. There would have been one in October 10th and 11th, I think, but it's been cancelled. So actually, I don't know how it is, when my next exhibition will be. There are some of these loop paintings. This actually is also part of 3, and they are currently, the other 2 are currently hanging in just a little exhibition, small exhibition, but I don't know when the next one is going to be. I think this is something a lot of artists are facing at the moment, that there are no art fairs, there are no events, there are no big exhibitions. So as long as you're not as famous to be in the museums, it's pretty hard at the moment. So if you know somebody looking for an artist and you like my style, just let me know. I think there are lots of small things going on or starting to go on because people try to find other opportunities to show their work. But all this big organized art fairs and exhibitions, they're not going to happen. Yeah, so can't tell you anything else. If you want to know about my exhibitions, you just sign in for my mailing list on my website, and I'll let you know as soon as there's something going on.
Thank you. So I have a few more questions.
Yeah.
One is about pricing of your canvases. So I don't know.
Yeah, there was another question. There was the question about how long does it take to finish?
Yes,
work?
And whether or not you need to think about it before you start.
Whether I think about finishing it or...
No, she says, I guess there is also a long period of thinking before starting. So.
Yeah, you know, the thinking process, that's happening in my sketchbook, I think. You know, also these paintings, there's actually a sketch. There is a pencil sketch like this, which I kind of put on canvas. It depends on the scale, but sometimes I just do it by hand, by just copying it from the sketch. And sometimes there's technique helping me. I do it with a beamer, we call beamer as well. Because some of my paintings are like a meter of 1.20 m, and then I just project it onto the canvas and do just the first lines to get the proportions and just the scale of the painting. So the thinking about it is in my sketches. As soon as I go to canvas, I do have a plan. I'm not that intuitive action painter on canvas. I'm an intuitive drawer, I would say. I draw from my intuition and from my emotions. That when I work on canvas, it's already planned in my sketchbook. And how long does it take to finish? Ages. These smaller works, well, it's pretty hard to say because, you know, I'm not able to work a whole day in my studio. So it would probably take 3 weeks to finish something like this. But if you could pack it into a whole workday, it would probably be 1 day or 1.5. So that's, and I don't write down the time, you know, if in the evening I've got half an hour, I just work on it for half an hour and then I go to bed or whatever, clean the kitchen, which is what I do have to do. Yeah. And you asked about the pricing.
Yeah, so Emily would like to know, how much do you charge for the canvases?
For the canvases. This is a 30 by 30, I think. I think so. I have to think, because this is a bit white. It's a double, how do you say, double canvas or double stretch. I think this is about 400 Swiss francs. I don't know about the pounds at the moment.
Neither do we, I think.
It's changing. It's changing. I'm
Yes.
looking around to see another. So they are big like this. I think they're around 900. Yeah, I do price them by how do you say, not line, square inch or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if it's one which I put a lot more time in it, because it's with more details, so it just depends. I do have a web shop on my website. I would have to fill in some more pieces, but most of them are in the exhibition at the moment. So while they're in the exhibition, I just don't put them on my website to not come into like conflict. But they will be there in October, I think so.
So Susan asks if we can find your demonstration videos on Instagram. And she says, these are great to watch. Thank you. I like your new series. And it looks like Loops Are Dancing, which might be a good title as well.
Yeah, for the new series.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And I have one more question where somebody asks, don't you sign or date your paintings?
I do sign them. You probably did not. It's not that prominent. So that's actually my signature down there. You've seen it?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I know
Try
it.
to find the bigger one. Or you see it on the black and white thing. You know, that's my initials. That's quite my artist sign. I do not date them on the front, but I always write like the title of the piece, when it's been made, my full name, and the signature on the back. The name of the series, the name of the painting, and just all the information about the painting is going to be written on the back. I'm not a big fan of this, how do you say, really prominent signatures. I like it small and tiny.
Renee asks if you would consider giving them musical names and setting them to music with your husband.
Well, that's a great idea. What do you mean by setting them to music?
I guess now we have to wait for Renee to type. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe Minu, that's her husband's name. I don't know. Maybe he could compose something. I don't know.
Yeah, well, probably he'll become a composer, but he's not that big composer at the moment. But also, I think he'd really enjoy it, but it's also a time question at the moment. Mm-hmm. You asked about the videos, if they are on my Instagram. They are, I'm just checking, but they are not on Instagram TV. They're just in my normal feed. So if you want to follow me on Instagram, there are videos from time to time, which I post. And a lot of other stuff, what inspires me. And I love trees and flowers, and I'm a passionate gardener, so you're gonna see some flowers and some garden scenes on my feed as well.
Okay. So Rennie just typed and said that he would say, give the musical names, like I presume the abstract paintings, and then that would give them another dimension. Yeah, I think it's a nice idea as well. Then you can call the whole series Dancing Loops, and then everyone gets their own musical title, maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
That's nice. I actually love the dancing loops. Yeah. Because you know the moment when this loop pattern kind of, how could you say that, collaborate? No. In German you'd say kollabieren.
Okay. Imploded.
Imploded. There were a lot of negative emotions in kind of this situation, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of emotional stress. And I did not want to title them with these kind of words. So I'm still looking for something positive, and I love dancing loops.
Well, I guess our hour is up. So I thank you very much. I thought it was very interesting. I had a lot of fun. So yeah, you find all the links in the chat box or later posted on YouTube or anywhere else. And thank you very much, Vreni, for showing us all your work.
Thanks for having me. It was a joy to be here.
Yeah.
It was my first time doing something like this, and I think it all worked pretty well.
I think it went great. Yeah.
So thanks for listening. And if you enjoyed it, go to my website, have a look at my Instagram. If you know somebody who'd enjoy my work or who'd enjoy to color in their life a little bit, just forward it. I just appreciate everybody appreciating my work. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Speak soon.
Have a nice evening.
Bye, guys. Bye. Bye.